To my right, your left from Ward 1, Councilor Ryan O'Malley from Ward 4, to my left, your right, Councilor Di Maria, Councilor Lodge, to my left, your right, and also the president of this year is Councilor Barbara Murphy from Ward 5. She's sitting in like any of the council. I know there's some councilors, Councilor D'Angelo, Councilor Matheson. I saw Councilor Condon in the audience, but I do want to open up. One second. Oh, and I'm Councilor Craig Spatafora. I'm the chairman of the board this year. I'd like to call the ordinance committee meeting to order. You want the council clerk to call the roll?
Councilor Di Maria. Hannon. Crowe. O'Malley. Spatafora.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'd also like to open up the public meeting for the residential parking requirements. We are waiting on the presentation to come down. It's been updated, but I want to give everybody an overview. We should be starting the presentation in about 2 minutes. The overview of this is simply there is no ordinance passed right now for residential parking. It is simply a thought process of the council, and the reason behind that is all the councilors, and I don't want to speak for all, well, most of the councilors that I've talked to in the past, parking in the city of Malden has gotten worse in the last 5 years. The interesting factor too is that the residential parking program that we looked at to somewhat base this program on was actually started in 1981 for the very reason of bad parking in the city of Malden, which was over 30 years ago, and it's been steadily getting worse for a host of reasons. So we decided to look at the ordinance again. As many people probably are not aware, there is no ordinance right now. This is the first of probably several public hearings. We wanted to do one before the summer break, and then work on the ordinance, and then come back with either a suggestion or not go forward at all based on input from the committee, community rather. Also, when talked about, most people don't realize that areas right now in the city of Malden have residential parking. I've talked to many residents, they don't realize that if you live anywhere near the train station, you are required to have a parking permit because you live near the train station. The problem with that, to be very honest with you, it has gotten out of control because as more and more residents, more and more commuters come into the city, those streets that are part of the permit parking expand. It's a domino effect, meaning I want my street to have residential parking because I have too many commuters. Guess what happens? They go to the street next door. And then that street becomes inundated and more. We've added, I think, 10 streets to that residential parking permit this year, parking program. I think there's about 46 in total now. Parts of Ward 1 have it, which never had it in the past, simply because Everett has no overnight parking. So if you're a resident of Ward 1 and you try to get a parking space in the middle of the night, guess what? It's probably be taken by somebody in Everett. One of the other interesting facts, and I did a little check last night, is a little quick survey. How many in this room are residents in the city of Malden? How many people have their cars registered in the city of Malden? Well, I'm hoping everybody raised their hand. I went to 4 wards last night for 40 minutes. I counted 62 out-of-state plates. Guess what? They're living in this community and they're not paying excise tax. And we had a very tough budget season, and that's one of the other rationales behind this, because there are people parking on our streets and our streets not paying their excise tax. Okay? And that to me is a problem. Also, we have a problem with illegal apartments right now. We have many illegal apartments in the city of Malden. There's a couple cases right now on Hutton Street where there's 9 students living in a house. We've been trying to get rid of them for a year. The courts do not allow us to do it. There's 9 cars with out-of-state plates parking in front of these people's houses. And they are getting inundated, I'm getting inundated as well as the council from that area, with calls about parking in front of their house. And there's nothing you can do about it right now. Absolutely nothing. So these are some of the reasons and rationale we looked at taking this parking program, not to go after residents. It is to simply enforce the rules and regulations we have, but also for the people who don't have their cars registered in the city of Malden, for the commuters that are parking in front of houses. They're parking in Ward 1, they're parking in Ward 5, they're parking in every ward now because they're parking off the beaten paths, they're walking to the main streets and taking the train in because you know why? If they get caught, Parking too close to the curb, it's a $30 ticket. That's a day's parking in Boston. And I think everybody can do a quick survey, come around Malden on the weekend, it's drastically different than Monday through Friday. So everybody in this room is doing what we wanted to do. Unfortunately, the rest of the community is not doing that. And the only way we can have some type of oversight is to have a permit parking program for the entire city. Now, with that being said, there is nothing passed. There's only been plans that have been presented before that's been updated. We've got new numbers, we've got new thoughts, we've got input, and that's all we're doing tonight. There is a presentation we'd like to give, so I'm going to turn it over to Council Kennedy. He's going to give a quick presentation. Is he waiting to turn it on? He's going to wait to turn it on. We're going to do a quick presentation, and then we're going to do Q&A. We have more than an hour. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, ma'am. Is it a technical question or is it a general question?
It's a general question in
Okay.
regards to parking. A lot of our homeowners that rent apartments
Yep.
are not allowed their renters to park on their property. If they do, they want to charge them more. Is there any way that the city can approach that to our homeowners, especially those who are absentee homeowners?
Well, that's another, that is put aside that in the presentation. There isn't currently an ordinance in the book that you have to have parking on, your parking has to be provided on that. It doesn't say it has to be free, right? So the tenant can charge. And that's one of the other, that's one of the other ideas is people are not using their driveways because either they're charging tenants and they're forcing them on the street, which is causing congestion. We're hoping the program can work that way. We are not trying to go after the residents of Malden. We are not. Absolutely not trying to do that. I live in Ward 3 right now. We have a parking program. It works some days, it doesn't work the other days. And that's because of enforcement. What part of the other plan is too is we want to drastically increase the amount of enforcement. And I believe the superior officers in the back, the traffic sergeant, the chief is here, the senior captain is here as well. And they want to build up the parking department to make it more robust so we can really enforce the parking we have. Okay? Councilor Kennedy, you ready? We're just waiting on the computer. Go ahead, Dan. Yep.
The cars on the corner of Hawthorne and Glenwood with the New Hampshire plate,
Yeah.
you tell me you can't tag them, they don't have permits because they're obviously not registered to that address. So why can't you tag them?
Because there's no permit parking in that street right now.
I live on Hawthorne Street.
Not that part of Hawthorne, there's not. That's the problem. It forces them to domino effect. Similar to Ward 2. Part of West Street is permit, the other part isn't. Guess what happens? They all move on to part of West Street. And it goes street by street by street by street. I had a resident call me from Revere Street. You know what that is? That's the last street in Malden before Revere. It's as far as you go down Salem Street. They have somebody parks in front of their house every day who walks to Salem Street and takes the train. Excuse me, the bus, to take the train into Boston. What does that make you do?
Don't you have 30 days in the state of Massachusetts to register your vehicle there? So if this requires a corrector every single day, you know the residents live here, how are you not able to?
Unless you're a student. And they rotate out the driveway too. They park on both sides of the street. We're trying to, the policemen go to try to get them on that. Council Kennedy, you ready? And when we do question and answer, okay, one more question. The only thing is I have to, public hearing, I have to start asking everybody's name and when we do it, but go ahead, sir.
I would have been happy to save my comments for later, but while we're waiting on the computer, and since this topic did come up,
No, go ahead.
follow-up question.
Yep,
Many of those cars have been there since at least last fall.
yep.
Okay, they are in violation of state law. Why can we not do anything about that?
Well, we've been sending the police down there I've been personally sending the police down there every week. We're looking into this, there is a student pass that students do not have to register the car in that city. And they are students.
Don't students need to register their cars with the local police station?
Nope.
That's what state law said when I looked it up.
I will definitely research this. I didn't know that until 3 weeks ago, sir.
Okay, the next question related to that is, what about parking next to the corner? It's been identified months and months ago that there's a public safety issue with cars parking on the corner. There is an ordinance on the Malden book saying that you cannot park within 20 feet of the corner.
Absolutely agree with
I
you.
drive by that street almost every day, And I see very few tickets on those vehicles, sir.
I absolutely, so there's two parts to this. One is the police are there, I'm not gonna have them come up now, but there's been numerous emails sent there. I think we try to do the enforcement. Part of the issue too is we just don't have enough enforcement right now. My pet peeve is over here in the corner and also the school area. I don't know how many people we have in the books right now for traffic enforcement. Part of our plan though is to drastically increase that, not only for residential parking in sidewalks, parking on the sidewalks, parking in crosswalks, parking too close to the corner. We have to get better at that.
Okay, it looks like the computer's up. I'll save the rest of my
I
concerns and
appreciate
questions
it, sir.
till later.
So I'm going to turn it over to Council Kinney for a brief presentation, and then we'll open up for questions. And just for decorum, I'm going to ask everybody to come up to the podium, name and address of the records. We're going to put it inside here. We're going to write down all your thought processes. Also, full disclosure, we are being videotaped right now. Also, there is a citizen videotaping and recording this. If somebody has a problem with it, it is a public session, and it is allowed by state statute. Just want to let everybody know. Thank you. Council Kinney.
Am I up? Yes. Good evening, everybody. We'll just gonna start here. Don't want to try to fool anybody. This is certainly a number of prongs to this thing. Part of it is absolutely raising money. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. But here's the backdrop. If you look at all the budget 2015 to 2017, and I don't know how much was covered, you have the big four: the police, the fire, the DPW, and the schools. Then our budget, all in, is a little over 160 million. With health insurance, pensions, and debt service, it's $141 million of our budget this year. So you can talk about waste, you can talk about all these other things, but this is where the money is, and this is where the challenge is for us. If you see real estate taxes down here, we can only raise real estate taxes 2.5% per year by law, not our law, the state law, probably 2.5. And state aid, we have no control over other than, you lobby your state representatives and your state senators. Here's what's happened over the last 3 years. The growth in the big four and the uncontrollable health insurance, pensions, and debt service, those are uncontrollable over the short term and mostly medium term. You have more control over debt service, but certainly not in the short term. Health insurance, anybody out there who's in the working force, anybody who's not, understands what's going on there. So in the 2 years, those lines grew $12,629,000. Our real estate tax and our state aid only went up $9,316,000. So there's a variance in those 2 years. This doesn't include any other department. Nothing else in City Hall, nothing else in the city. Now, how do we come up with the money for that? The rest of it? 2 ways. We have fees, fines, tickets, those type of things. And then, in the last 2 years, we've used one-time reserves. So I don't know, you covered that? So in last year, 4 million, when the former mayor left and this mayor came in, there was a lot of reserves left over. The best shape we were probably ever in when a mayor left office. There are a number of reasons for that in terms of money. It went up the first year, and ever since that, it's really been coming down. We had $16 million in reserves 2 years ago. We're down to $6 million after this budget. That's what's been happening. And the budget killers are really health insurance, pensions, and debt service. And health insurance is just starting to take off again on us. That actually had come down because some deals were struck in the last administration that really turned out pretty good for us. We went from having a liability of about 20 million down to 18 million, And now it's started to reverse again because we got the benefit of those and things are going up. Again, anybody in the private sector who sees this, it's not uncommon to see these types of increases. We're seeing them all over the place, and it's only going to get worse. The more mandates put on, the more issues you have. When you see the schools growing up by 9.2%, those are actually two of the lowest years in the history of this city, at least the recent history in my lifetime. From 1970 to 2010, the average school increase was about 5.8% a year. That is unsustainable for us now. Our revenue, as you see, is going up about, if we're lucky, about 3%, 6.12% over the last 2 years. So that's the backdrop to that. So what's the dilemma facing the city? We have the same amount of police on the street today, total police, as we did 25 years ago. Unfortunately for us, we have about 15%, if you use the census, it's probably greater. But we had 53,000 people 25 years ago, and we have at least 61,000 people today. And most of us living in the neighborhood, certainly in my neighborhood, there's a lot of uncounted people. Somebody brought up when I moved on my street, I've lived in Maplewood my entire life, but when I moved on my street with my wife 25 years ago, there were no non-owner occupied single families. The one on the left of me, the one on the right of me, and the one across the street diagonally are now non-owner occupied single rentals where they used to have 2 cars apiece. Now they have 6, 7 cars. 25 years ago, we had 140 firefighters. Today, 106. Less than half as many DPW workers as 25 years ago. We had over 60, now we have less than 30. Our health insurance, our pensions are increasing faster than revenue, and OPEB, which has to do with health insurance and liabilities for the retired, which we have huge liabilities unfunded, and which the state is going to make a mandate soon, we are told, that those need to be funded. We have 0 funding for that. And we still have 7 miles of streets with water pipes, which are pre-1900 in the city. 15 miles from 1900 to 1920. Now, I don't know how many of you have had your streets ripped up, but we currently have 61 streets that are ripped up and that have not been repaved. 61. And so we have a plan right now underway that we put together this spring that does 17, hopefully this year, got the financing for it, we'll cut the cost of it, and then next year we might get the same, if we're lucky, we might be able to get the same amount done, but we cannot start one new street with our current finance. Not one. We do not have the debt capacity to do it. We do not have the money to come in unless we decide we're going to cut fire, police, DPW, or schools. It's as simple as that. I'm a fiscal conservative in front of you. I did not vote for the trash bags, was opposed to it all the way. Almost every tax in the state I voted against at one time or another. But we have our backs against the wall. A lot of it is because of the fact that the state continues to mandate things, and yet they don't fund it. If you go to the school system, you hear about the special needs costs. Well, the special needs costs never come with enough money with the mandates. And now we have, for you who've been around for a long time, like myself, when I went to Malden High School, I never heard of such a thing as ELL. We have ELL, which is English language learners, all over. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't do anything about this. I'm suggesting that the state does not do its part There should be a law on the books that says that the state can't mandate anything unless they fund it. But what's happened is we have the increase in the schools in the last 3 or 4 years has gone up about 10 million. Every single dime of it has gone to increase, has been taken up by special ed increase or ELL. The special ed increase just for students that leave the city. Now, if you can't handle it in the city's responsible for educating those children elsewhere. It's the way it should be. But each child, there's 122 of them in the city that go outside the city. It costs us $87,000 per student for those 122. That is breaking communities like ours' backs. So again, just giving you a backdrop of why we're doing things. So do you believe we should maintain, this is the questions that everybody in this city has to ask themselves who's a homeowner and a citizen. Do you believe we should maintain the same amount of police officers as we have today? This is very important. We put a moratorium, you put a moratorium in place by voting for it, overwhelmingly. I sponsored that with some other councilors here. And that again was, we're not getting the same funding that we need for every housing unit that goes up. And MAPC, which is the regional people, they have a plan in place that has Malden grown to 72 to 75,000 people by 2030. Where we'll put them on, I have no idea. How we fund them, I have no idea. We can't grow our police department. It's what it was 25 years ago. So we're going to have gone from 53,000 under their plan to 72 to 75,000 people. And police calls and fire calls are a direct correlation to how much housing and people you have. Keep that in mind. Do you believe that it is necessary that the school spending be allowed to increase by 2 to 3% per year? Just 2 to 3%. I've been on the council 9 years. There's only been 2 years, only 2 years, where it's been below 3%. One was actually below 4%. One was in 2009, and then one was this year. The budget this year was pretty responsible. First one I voted for this mayor's since the first one. Off the bat, last year after it got rejected and came back. So I don't do this. I'm not up here in front of you promoting that, hey, we should tax everybody. Should Malden maintain the same amount of fire protection it is today? These are questions that every citizen has to ask. Should we maintain the same complement of public works employees? Again, it is half what it was 25 years ago. Why a residential sticker? Money raised under, again, and I think Councilor Spatafora said it, this is a draft. This is why we're having public meetings. This is one of a few at least. And it may go nowhere, like the last 2 times, but it may. Money raised will be set aside in a streets and roads enterprise fund. And why that? Well, to keep the road repairs, including continuing of removal of lead pipes, because something on that's going to come down. Again, remember, we have seven miles pre-1900, and we have 15 miles between 1900 and 1920. A lot of those pipes have lead in them. Not only that, the reason we went into the plan that we are currently in with the 59 streets initially was to get rid of black hydrants. I don't know if any of you heard about that. But those black hydrants run most of the oldest streets in the oldest pipe streets in the city. It's like your veins as we age. They fill up with plaque. Well, our pipes fill up with plaque too, unfortunately. So we've gone around the city and we've gotten rid of most, not all, of the black hydrants. Now you don't want them pulling up to your neighborhood, like near your house where there's a kitchen fire, hooking up to a hydrant and finding out there's no water coming out of it. Now, the fire department's done a great job knocking, going around, putting the black hydrants, coating them. They can't keep up with that. But we know just by the age that if we don't get a plan to do more piping, we are going to have far more black hydrants, again, after having attempted it. So we got to keep ahead of that issue. So by doing this, we reduce black hydrants, we can plant trees, we will further alleviate the need to use operating funds. This is the key. By doing this and setting aside just for that, we alleviate the need of using operating funds to do those jobs. If they turn black, we really have no option. So we also have a big problem right now. I don't know how many have followed it, but those 5961 streets were going to cost us, according to CDM Smith, $20 million to complete. It's water under the bridge, but we got to figure a way to fix it. We've cut costs at least by a third, maybe more. But even in that situation, we're talking about $12 to $15 million that it's going to cost us to finish those. So again, if we take that from the operating budget because we bond out more, we then won't have money for police, fire, schools, and everything else. So we're suggesting that we might set up a streets and road enterprise fund, and if you took in $800,000 to $1 million under this plan, that could take care of those roads in a bonding situation and leave us some money to get ahead of the rest of these streets in a structured, comprehensive manner by the age of the pipes going forward. Funds will be used to increase park enforcement throughout. This is where the money's going to come from, park enforcement throughout communities clogging our streets. Anybody who lives near the T, even if you're living in Maplewood Square, around my house, anywhere there's a bus line, you'll see people stopping, parking their cars, getting on the bus, and going to work. They're not from Malden, and they're not paying us anything to do that. There's, can't blame them. We do nothing about it. Funds will be used to put signage on every single street. Today, probably everybody in this room at one time or another has gotten a parking ticket for parking on street sweeping day. Or friends that come over. You just don't know. Unless you know what that card says. I know it's every other Tuesday, but I couldn't tell you in my own house which Tuesday it is. I just say, stay off the street on Tuesday. And that's the type of thing you've got to remember. So this would pay for street signs in here, which are expensive to put them up. We hope to cut the cost of that, but they're very expensive to put up. It'll take, according to a plan that was done by some expert in 1981, it said 7,000 signs. Under putting a sign up every 200 feet on either side of the street, you calculate it out, we got 123 miles of streets, it'd be 6,500 signs. So their numbers were right in the ballpark. Some streets are longer than others. Some signs we might be able to use over. But those signage would tell you about street sweeping, that it's resident sticker parking, the hours, the emergency snow, which doesn't exist in a lot of places. So again, the funds would be put up for that. In other places, police believe it has helped to reduce crime. It's easier for the DPW for streets, snow plowing. Public safety. Again, we'll stay ahead of the serious black hydrant issue. We'll decrease the remaining lead pipes. And we'll put out traffic lights. If you go around the city, I've had traffic lights approved for years in some intersections in my ward that have no prayer of ever getting any funding because of the situation we find ourselves in. And the only thing that's going to have that happen, change, is if somebody unfortunately gets really hurt or killed. And just last year, we had speeding happen, and 2 people unfortunately were killed. So we could put up traffic lights, raised crosswalks, intersections, and we've had in a number of wards, speed bumps, both permanent and temporary, approved, but no money to do that in many places. It makes neighborhood crime watch easier in terms of identifying outsiders. Nobody denies this. No sticker car parked without a pass in front of your neighbor's house during a weekday or any time. It might elicit a question. One of the biggest, and the chief told me this story, the biggest crime ever solved perhaps through a ticket was the Son of Sam in New York City. They can track by things happening. If there were break-ins in a certain neighborhood, and all of our neighborhoods have them, it's easy to identify the cars. If there were tickets there and you had a pattern of tickets or a car showing up at the same place, it could be used for that. So allowing police to identify quickly through a number of means. Chronic noise and nuisance homes where there are parties are conducted after hours will largely be curtailed because the hours of sticker parking. You know, if you have a couple of guests over, that's not a problem. But many of us are faced with this in our neighborhoods where you might have 10, 20, 30 cars in the neighborhood. There's nothing we can do about that really today on a consistent basis. Signs with parking regulations, again, help identify illegal rooming houses. I think Councilor Spatafora talked about it. We all have them. And if you live next to one, you know it. The sticker program fits with broken windows. Now, what are the financial ramifications? The initial cost to the existing taxpayers will be zero. Every person who has paid their excise tax will be mailed a resident sticker parking sticker for that car that has an excise tax which has been paid. And it will be, you will get a sticker for the life of that car. You will not have to pay for it. There are over 25,000 residential living units, approximately 43,000 cars. It's about 1.7 per unit. The city of Everett, now when you haven't been paying us, and we mail out these stickers, you're gonna have to come in and get one. And you're gonna have, in order to get a sticker, you're gonna have to register your car here and pay us the excise tax. That's the law. We just have no way of finding it today. So the city of Everett picked up about $300,000 additional in excise tax when it launched its program. Malden is more than 40% larger. If we only get 2,500 cars, we gotta believe we're somewhere around Everett or more. 2,500 cars, the average excise tax bill is $128 per car in Malden. That computes to $321,000. So we know that figure is probably pretty good. If 2 additional cars per day, per hour, per ward, in a 16-hour day are ticketed, we will raise an additional $1.8 million per year for the city. Now understand, any one of you could go out any hour in your ward, and this isn't busting them on people. This is just going out and saying, oh, that car is parked in front of a hydrant. That car is parked right to the corner. That car doesn't have a sticker in the resident sticker parking places. But we don't have that type of enforcement citywide today. We only have that in certain neighborhoods. So it's not the potential is nearly $1 million in net revenue, because I'm not going to fool you. There is additional cost here. In order to enforce 16 hours, not 8, but 16 hours throughout the whole city, not just in parts of Ward 3, parts of Ward 2, parts of Ward 4, and a small piece, I think, in Ward 1. you're gonna have to pay more money to do the same thing. But we know what that does in a very short period of time today. Potential program, all excise paying residents again will be mailed a sticker. Stickers will be placed in the left-hand corner of the rear window. Now here's the kicker, and here's where everybody's not gonna be happy. When a person registers a new car for the first time going forward, there will be a $50 charge for the sticker. The average person's car in the city of Malden, Councilor D'Angelo, who opposes the program, provided the detail, but the average person's car is a little over 10 years. The average person's car in America is 7 years that they keep their cars. Let's say you kept it for 5. The guest passes under this program would be, I think, just like the guest passes today, are they $10 today? The same as the guest pass today. If you already live in a sticky area, this program is significantly less than what you currently pay if you keep your car even 5 years. Because the sticker costs what today? $25 a year in the resident sticker pocket. If you keep your car 5 years today in those places, you will be paying an average of $10. Parking stickers would be needed Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday, and are issued in some form 2 zones. The T-zone and the rest of the city. During the day, 7 a.m. to 4. At night, it would be 12 to 7. Sticker parking is not needed for visitors on weekends and holidays. During the day, from 7 a.m. to 4, weekends and holidays, 7 a.m. to 12, I should say. I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened. Unless specifically denoted as a T parking zone, if we have problems around the T where people are going to park in front of your house all day on the weekends. Nighttime stickers 12 to 7. Daytime is until 4. Cost differential. The assistant manager cost, fully burdened, will be with benefits. Burden is 50%, including the health benefits and all, is at $90,000. The manager cost, which replaces the police manager, is actually a net savings of $18,000 and would put another police officer on the street. The cost of enforcement, don't deny that, already these enforcement guys who go around, it would double because we're doubling, more than doubling the hours actually. The clerks to handle the influx of the work is about $190,000. That's including the benefits. That is including the benefits. It would be 3 additional clerks. That's because they've got to give out stickers. They've got to deal with the public, and they would be open in order to do that. I think if anybody has a sticker today in the sticker program and tries to get a sticker, it is a very difficult process. That would not be the case. Signage would initially cost us about $1.4 million citywide. Yes.
You also want to mention, you get a new sticker every year, right?
Yes. You would get a new sticker every year for the life of your car for free. And the reason for that is if somebody moves out of the city, we don't want them coming back with that same car and parking in the city to take the T for free. Typical, now, you know, this is what I hear, this is what I see online. Oh, all the fees are going up, the taxes are going up, everything's happening. I don't deny that, but you're lucky to live in a mall like me. I'm lucky. Typical tax and fee burden, 2007 to 2016 in the city of Malden. Go check your property taxes from 2007 for the vast majority of us. A single family cost us $2,968 in 2007. Now, if you have a higher price, this is the average house. If you have a higher priced house, it's different, but the effect would be the same. The property tax for that same house in 2016 is $3,145. And that's because of, from that time to now, the city of Malden has put a residential tax exemption in, which has shifted the burden to the non-owner occupied, particularly the apartment buildings, commercial, essentially commercial. So the property tax increase on the average home in the city of Malden over 9 years has been $177. That's 0.65% per year. I would challenge anybody in this room to find anything that has only gone up by that amount. So what else have you had to pay for? Because I understand the psychology behind all this thing. The trash bags, average spend per household is $100 a year per household. Some of us, I have 4 children, so I spend more than $100 per year. But I think I should spend more than my parents, who are in their 80s and probably use half a bag a week. Local meals tax, we passed that. We did the McDonald's Stadium, South Broadway Park, the bike path, and a number of Waits Mountain. Those projects absolutely make your home values more. That costs you on average, because 60% of it is paid by outside people, on average $10 a year. Car stickers, if we put them in and you have 3 cars in your household, and we amortize it over the 7 years, the price would be $21. The resident sticker parking, if you get 2, it'd be $20. Now, you don't have to ever, if you're a senior and you have a driveway, you don't ever have to get a sticker. Because you can park in your driveway. You don't ever have to get a sticker from us. Now, you can't park on the street, but you can go to Malden Square, you can go to any of the squares, whatever the business rules are there, you have to pay, but you wouldn't need a sticker to go there. So the total average increase in these fees is $151. When you add them to the $177 and divide that by the property tax bill in 2007, your increase and my increase on average per year was 1.2%. I challenge anybody in this room to go to any community that borders us or within Greater Boston and find out if you would only be paying 1.2% more per year, 6% total over 9 years. You will not find a community where that is the situation. Fiscal 2000 exemption, 16 exemption, is an average of $1,841 for the resident owner in the city of Malden. I'm almost done. I really don't have another slide other than to say, now with all of that as a backdrop, inflation, we've gone up, that whole amount. Inflation over that same period, Greater Boston, 1.5% per year. So your tax and fee burden has gone up less by a total of about 4% over 9 years than the inflation rate when you add them up. 1.5, 1.2 compound. Won't get into that whole thing. But those are the facts. So the only thing I asked you, and actually in committee, I believe we should do this again. In committee, right now, I've sponsored to do a home rule petition, which would have the residential tax exemption go to 35%. One other community in the Commonwealth has that, that's some of them. They went to 35%. That would then save you another $100 to $127 a year. That would pay for everything we're talking about for those who are residential homeowners in the city that, that own their house and live in their house. So again, the question I think everybody has to ask themselves is, because if we don't do this, we didn't add police in the last 25 years. We should have. We subtracted 24 firefighters. The schools, if you follow, aren't even going to have an athletic director in the coming year. 6,500 students in the school system, 1900 at Malden High, and they made a decision, right or wrong, that they will not have an athletic director. That's going to be the only community of any size in the Commonwealth that has that situation. So, is it worth, even if that doesn't pass, is it worth those of us who are homeowners out there paying an additional per year if I have 3 cars and I want the sticker sometime in the future? Is it worth me paying that money? I don't know. You have to make that decision. I know for me personally, keeping police on the street, keeping firefighters, and funding the schools and the DPW. And I'm not trying to run scare tactics here. I'm the person who votes to cut. And I don't just say, let's cut 1%, there's waste. I give you specifics. No phony baloney stuff here. Watch for the people who tell you, oh, we're not funding the schools, or we're not funding this. We need to do that, I vote against the budget. If they do that, and they don't offer cuts, that's nonsense. Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, everybody? No, not off committees, public hearings. No, we're gonna go to the people, like public hearing, speak in favor and then speak opposed.
Okay, can I speak up?
No, you have to wait till the rest of the residents who have the room, Council.
I can't go first, I'm present.
You wanna go first in front of all the residents? Like, are you for this or against it, Council?
I'm against.
Then the decorum for the, you know every public hearing is for it first. Am I right, Councilor? Madam Chair? Am I right? Not that I'm trying to stifle anybody, but there's a decorum in the public hearings. Everybody in every Board of Health, Board of Appeal, and the Council goes first, the people who are in favor. Now, what I do want to have here, to run this orderly, is, everybody, we are not, nothing's been finalized. If you want to come and speak in favor and make suggestions, we'd love it. If you're against it, we have no problem with that. I would just like to offer, if you are against it, the reasons. Is it too high of a cost? Is it too much of a burden? All this. I do want to reference, I didn't bring it up before so people don't think I'm making up stories. This is the original residential parking sticker program, which was dated in 1981, that the clerk has had archived for us. This is not new, but I can tell you from 1981 to 1999, the traffic has gotten worse. So this is all we've done is literally taken this and updated some numbers. This is a fantastic guide. I have it electronically, I can share with everybody, and we just put inflation numbers in here, but this is where we got a lot of information for this latest update.